Running a brokerage is hard work, so whether you're focused on building your own sales pipeline, hiring the best agents, leveling up your team's production, or protecting the culture you've built, you're in the right place. Real estate brings the challenges, and we share the solution. Welcome to the show dedicated to broker entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Brokerpreneur Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brokerpreneur Podcast. I'm Dr. Ben Spears, the Doctor of Flow. I'm here as usual with the big guy, Matt Vi. Matt, I'm going to ask you really quick how you're doing because I want to get to your guest as fast as possible.
Hard answer.
I'll try and slow that down in Premiere so people can hear.
I'm doing great.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody knows how Matt's doing. So that if you only listen for that, you can go on about your day. But I want to make sure that we get to our special guest, who's coming. We're bringing her on again because we have a really cool topic to talk to her about, of course. And she's just one of our really good friends. And so let's bring on Shelley Goldstein. She's a keynote speaker and a corporate trainer. And I'm going to let her tell us kind of a little bit before Matt gets into his thing. What are you training people on?
I am training people how to be really good, powerful, and compelling speakers. And just the fact that the both of you have invited me back on has just been such a wonderful opportunity to embrace those ideas, because you are powerful speakers.
Matt. So yeah, absolutely, we love it. I'll ride your all's coattails. So Matt, I know you had some questions, right? Let's dig right in.
Yeah. So Ben's got to get to the things that he normally does in the podcast. But I said, hey, before we dig into that, let's make sure that we talk to everybody about what we're gonna lean into today, which is, Shelley, part of the reason why we wanted to have you come back on, and we're super grateful you're back on. So we know that, being people, we have to make sure that we get our message out, we get our story out. We have to be very effective in our communication, especially our broker audience, right? They got to do a great job when they're recruiting. They got to do a great job connecting with the agents in their market, which means they have to be authentic. They have to present who they are well. They have to do well in the interview and everything. But that crap that keeps permeating into everything, I don't mean to say crap, but that AI stuff we just keep hearing about all over the place, everywhere, right? It's helping us in so many places, but if we're not careful, there's other places that it could really hurt us in. And so I saw something on LinkedIn that Shelley talked about, and I said, oh my gosh, we got to get her back on here. We got to talk about this because we know it'll really just help the brokers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to let that percolate just for a second and remind everybody that if you're listening, if you're watching us or listening to us on any of those platforms, make sure really quick you hit that follow and that subscribe button. There's no better time than to go into join Brokerpreneur Not So Secret Society with the links down below. So tell us, Shelley, how did you get started in all this first, right? Because I want to get your background, and then we're just going to dive into, what'd you call it, crap?
Did I? Is that what I said?
AI?
That might have slipped out, right? I didn't mean it like that.
So tell us a little bit about how
some people believe that, right?
That's right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit
about both, yeah. So even with this, it could be AI, could be intelligent, and could also be dumb. And I think about my life, how I've lived my life, my career. I was dumb plenty of the times, but those mistakes, those insecurities have allowed me to learn about communications in a way that I never thought, because I stopped and I listened with the support of the technology. Because I hate to age myself, but the truth is, when I started out, we did not have cell phones or computers, and everything was done by pencil and paper and a typewriter. So throughout my career, I've been in the field of design, I've been in the field of marketing, and it's all about communications. But through those journeys of communications and expressing character and the message, the clear message of what a character is in a play, or what a company's origins are, or what they're trying to sell, you kind of sit back and you go, wow, how does this all come together? And along those years, I've worked with very large and small teams. And truly, what's prepared me more than anything to be a corporate trainer is understanding what working with people is all about at all different levels, at all different capacities and skills. The key is, how do you get your job done? You're responsible as the senior, leader or department head. How do you get that done? And my communication skills weren't great. And I learned to hone in, because if I didn't communicate well with my audiences and my teams, I wasn't going to get my job done. Yep. Somehow that led me to public speaking in recent years. And I really think I now have a little bit of an edge on people, but taking all that background and experience has really helped me communicate with my clients and help them understand where they need to go with their teams.
Yeah, that's so you talked about the evolution of what you were doing to get where you are right now. But that's also, with this whole AI thing, that's also what's happened before, right? AI isn't brand new. It's just starting to permeate everything. It's just starting to be everywhere that we turn. And, we describe it, a lot of AI as the world's best research assistant, or a great graphic designer, or a great something that helps you quickly leverage things that you need to get done. But what you help people do is you help them communicate their message about who they are and how that connects with the audience. Right. So is there a place for AI to help out with that? Is there somewhere that AI could make a difference with somebody that would help them effectively get that message across?
Absolutely. So you're right. None of this is new. Early on, even in Greek times, it was all about automation and automatons. They believed in these, crazy little robots. Leonardo da Vinci designed robotics early on. And it was through the 50s, I think, and into the 60s that we started, the pioneer of AI started to happen. So it's been with us a long time. We've just been slow at understanding it and adapting it and understanding what it can do for us. And to your point, yes, AI can do so much for us. Efficiency and workload, get, contracts written, some basic general things that we need on our day-to-day organized. But our advantage as humans is to take those opportunities where some of the technical stuff and maybe mundane routine stuff, and match that with human compassion. Because the one thing that the robots and AI cannot do yet, and I say yet because anything is possible, is it can't really understand human emotion. That is our unfair advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you speak in your training a lot about that unfair advantage, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there is nothing like your own unique story. So what AI can't do is, if you're writing a speech, it can't generate your experiences. It can't tell your story. Well, maybe if you type it in there and ask for it to help you write it better, but it's not going to just out of nowhere learn who you are, what your experiences are, how you lost your last big deal, how you won your last big deal, how you failed at your first job, how you got promoted. It doesn't know those stories. Those stories are everything that's going to be your advantage to standing out against the technology and making those mistakes that also computers are doing less and less, because they're learning, right? They're on a learning chat GPT. These are bots. The more we feed into it, the more it understands and it learns. We need to make mistakes. That's where we have innovation and creativity.
Right.
So living in our storytelling and not repeating your introduction, like say you're in a networking group, or you're just introducing yourself and you're reciting bullet points off of a resume or some rote routine, mundane statement that's written on your website or your letterhead or whatever you have. You have an opportunity to really be creative and say something unique about yourself. It's so important to stand out against this routine.
Completely agree. And so from a broker, from a recruiting standpoint, them being able to make that connection as early as possible with the agents that they want to hopefully bring on board with them, the quicker that they can get that authentic message about who they are and their experiences and how that can help, the easier it's going to be to get that person engaged with them so that they can convert them to that opportunity for the appointment, that opportunity for the interview, that opportunity for the follow-up. But if all they're doing is going into AI and saying, "Hey, give me some social media posts that I can put out there so that it'll attract agents to my office," right? Even if that does get some engagement, it gets somebody to raise their hand. What I think is missed if people aren't paying attention is that person is not really engaging with that broker at that point. They're engaging with the perception of what they think that brokerage is, not who that person actually is. If you don't have your real experiences in there, if you don't have your real emotion in there, if you don't have that last big deal that you lost or the last big deal that you got, to use your example, if you don't have those things in there, then you end up not having a real connection with that person. And so when they come in, you have to be really careful because they think they're connected with you. And the truth is, maybe they're not connected with you. So as long as you're using it for that opportunity to begin that conversation and then truly plugging in who you are, I think that people are going to have some effectiveness with that, but they still have to be careful on that initial connection because it has to be authentically who they are in order for them to win. Am I missing anything on that?
Not at all. And actually, I wanted to add on to that because you're absolutely right. These, what is AI? Right now, machine learning are predictive patterns. The best way to think of that early on is Amazon. You shop on Amazon, you buy a pair of green pants. All of a sudden, Amazon starts sending you, new green pants to buy, new versions of green pants. And you're sitting there going, I already bought a pair of green pants. I want a red t-shirt. Now, predictive patterns can't figure that out. It can't guess that you want a red t-shirt to go with your green jeans. It may say, well, maybe she does want pants or shoes or something, but it really is a machine learning model. That's the same as you're a broker and you go out there and you say, hey, I'm a broker and my business does dot, 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 dot. Your prospects are just going to turn off because it's like, oh, I've heard that story before. Anybody owns that title. There are many, many people who own the title of, broker or salesperson or vice president. Break that predictive pattern with your story and show them I am a unique speaker because, or this is how I've helped somebody. That breaks that pattern. Sorry, Dr. Ben.
No, you're good. I could listen to you talk about this all day long. Matt brings this up every now and then about how a lot of times, and again, brokers aren't necessarily machine learning themselves, of course, but a lot of times they assume they know what the agent is looking for. Or maybe they assume they know what their goals are. Mm-hmm. And I think this is very interesting because we're talking about machines doing this for us. Hey, you bought green pants. Everybody probably wants green pants, or you want more green pants. If you want a red shirt, must be like Christmas, right? Right? Now I want a red shirt, except and some green pants to go on my shirt. But that being said, brokers can have the fault of machine learning sometimes. Absolutely. As well, Matt. Where, they're thinking, oh, I know everybody. I know what every agent wants. They all want the same thing. And they just don't. Hey, Dr. Ben here. I hope you're enjoying this episode. If sometimes you feel overloaded or alone when it comes to building your brokerage, I want you to know that we are here for you. There's so much support available to agents, but hardly any dedicated to brokers. I want to personally invite you to schedule a complimentary strategy call where Matt will help you build a 3-step profitability plan that will immediately produce results. This is not a sales pitch. There's no obligation. Simply click the link in the description below. Now let's get back to the show.
We default to our pitch, to our tagline, to my, statement of who I am and my mission statement. Those are great on a website. They're not great in conversation. And that's the predictive pattern. And to your point, when we start conversations by saying, hey, I had this experience as a broker. I just went through this whole thing. This really made my business different. It got me thinking differently. Now you're connecting human to human, and the people you're talking to, that you want to get the buy-in for, the agents, the prospects, they're going to align just on those ideas and learn so much more about the type of broker you are,
Right.
the type of leader you are. You can't learn that from a tagline or, a statement, a mission statement. It just doesn't necessarily translate.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Again, going back to the whole, hey, AI, give me the, going in and getting the prompts and, give me, 10 potential social media posts that, would attract a real estate agent to my brokerage and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to go back and look at your history of transactions. It's not going to go back and look at your history of the coaching sessions you've had with agents. It's not going to go back and look at the things that you have done as a person interacting with other people, because it can't. It's going to be a long time before it can do that. And it's going to have to spy on us a lot before it does that. Okay. And so what we need to make sure that we're doing is we need to make sure that that's the message that we're putting out there if we truly want to stand out. And here's the reason why. There's probably not a broker listening to this who wouldn't love to have agents attracted to their brokerage. Instead of having to go find those agents, or having to go catch those agents, or having to put something out there to get the agent to raise their hands so maybe they could follow up to them, they would much rather that agent be attracted to them. You're not going to be attracted. Agents are not going to be attracted by what you put out there to your brokerage and who you are, unless you're putting out there who you truly are. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't supplement some of this. Now, there's a real place for this intelligence helping you put content out there that's very consistent content, but there has to be a message about you in that fold. Okay. And I'll
tell you, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead,
Matt. I would love to just slip in right there, because AI can help you find the keywords. They could help you find keywords of what agents are looking for, or what people are wanting or understanding in your area of expertise. So use AI to get that. But to your point, don't make the ad all about the keywords. Right. Make sure it's conversational. So use that as your resource to supercharge your message, and make sure there's a story that explains that keyword, that field. I just wanted to add that because it was so pivotal to what you were saying.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they want to do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So we have so one of our clients, we were just talking to them on a mastermind a few minutes ago, and she mentioned that one of the things that we helped her put together that were through her social media was got the attention she wanted. She was able to get she was able to get people to meet with her because of it. And as we talked about it, I made sure I drove home the point. The reason why this happened wasn't because you had some ad that was not what you were all about. You were able to put something out there that was speaking to who you were. Your appointment now that's going to go to an interview is going to convert easier, because the person was attracted to who you are, and all you have to be when they show up is you. If you're you when they show up, if that's the ad that you put out there, everything else becomes easier. And sometimes I think people want, just get me as many appointments as you can possibly get me, and I'm going to sift through all these, and I'm going to find the one that's the right fit, and I'm going to bump into the one that's the right person and everything. And then however much longer, they're just exhausted because they didn't realize all the mental energy that it takes to do that, number one. And number two, if you don't know who that person is and they're not attracted to you because of you putting your story out there, when you're going to miss that person that is a great fit because they're in the mix with everybody else. It just becomes really difficult to identify that person that would be that good fit, because you just had them in a net with everybody else. And so you had to sift through all that to figure out who that right person was, because we want people that convert easier and we want them to stay longer. And the way that happens is by them appreciating who and what you are and who and what you're about, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it costs us more to acquire a new team member or a new client than it does to maintain somebody we have. And look at your relationships in your personal life. The friends and the people that you've known the longest, that you have really beautiful relationships with, that you look forward to getting together with, that you trust, that you can finish each other's sentences, you like similar things. Business is the same way. You want those relationships. And to your point, it's all about how you connect. And the more we bring in our story, the more that we share our experiences, we are now building that relationship as friends. And you want to keep those people on your team for a long time. You don't want to have to go through it and just, gosh, training people costs so much money and time. Get people that are good. You don't want to ever lose them.
Right. Yeah. Certainly don't want to create a competitor with them.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned too, like, you're essentially, looking for people that you could actually, be friends with. And we've heard several times, don't hire somebody that you couldn't yourself see yourself working for, right? Because of, just the ethics or, the moral standards that person has. And ultimately adding that to your culture, can be a poison. The wrong person can be a poison to the entire brokerage. But I want to talk to you a little bit about, because we bring this up, and I know that you're just going to have like the most amazing explanation for this. I want to talk to you about the friend zone. And so sometimes when you're reaching out and brokers are connecting with agents and they're offering a tremendous amount of value, and they're essentially building friendships with agents inside of their brokerage. How does with inside their marketplace, how does a broker go about skirting that friend zone, making sure that person knows, like, hey, I want to be friends, of course, but I really want you to come work at my brokerage. And when you said, friends there, it just really got me thinking about that. And I was like, I know a few brokers personally that this question is going to help a ton.
Oh, this is so important and such a valuable skill to have, because again, thinking about our business as relationships, we take longer, we go the distance with them. We can actually build trust, and that's what we want in business. So as humans, we're emotional beings. We think from our emotions. We are not thinking machines. We are feeling machines that think. And a neuroscientist stated that, Antonio Damasio, and it makes so much sense, because when you share those emotional stories, that's where we connect. We know you're real. We could say, yeah, that's happened to me. And there's a trust. When I hear your story about how you got started or a failure, I'm like, yeah, I had my business failure. And you move forward on that. Who can I call in my list of resources that I could trust, that's going to help me with this website, or that's going to help me with this deal, or help me with the contract? You call the people you know and trust. That's what referrals are all about. So sharing those stories and moments right off the bat, hey, great to see you. I got to tell you about this deal I made the other day, and it wasn't so right. You ever experienced something like that? Ask those questions. Share information instead of telling people information. We want to hear stories. We've been doing that since the beginning of mankind. We went from cave drawings to words. We love movies for that reason. We love listening to music. We love reading books. It's all stories. So why not share yours to take that extra step and go deeper? Worst case scenario, someone's like, I don't agree. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, we can't please everybody. And just like, Matt, you said earlier, some people want to do those systems where they get dozens and dozens of leads. That does work for some people, but there's an alternative here that could build quality, longevity, and much deeper and more intense partnerships. Yeah. And business is built on those partnerships. And the friend thing, why not? Of course it's there. That's what partners and relationships are all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And so them getting to that position, when you've made that connection with them, I think probably one of the big things that has to happen is you have to choose your vocabulary to make sure that you're framing the type of relationship that you want to have with them as you're building that rapport. Mm-hmm. So if you want to make sure you don't end up in the friend zone with people so that they just see you as a great broker, but they don't even realize that you want to work together, right? Which happens sometimes. That means you have to, as you're telling that story, as you're having those conversations, you have to make sure that you're framing that vocabulary that allows that to happen. So that's whenever you start saying, the agents like you that I work with, or the agents that the people like you that I know that I can work together with, or that are a great addition to my brokerage. I love the way that we have this rapport, because that really makes us working together so much. It makes it so much easier. Things along that line are what's going to help pull people in there. But like you're saying, it makes it so much easier when you have that rapport, when you have that emotional connection. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of times brokers forget about that. I know I did. A lot of times brokers forget about that emotional part of that connection, and they just get to the logic of the decision. You want to work, you want to make more money, you want to be successful in what you do. Here's how I help you do those things. Is us working together the best logical decision for you, right? And so we get into that program. We turn into AI, right? We're just throwing that information out. They're getting the information, and that's that. Instead, taking this at an emotional level, creating that rapport, and then saying in that vocabulary as you're talking to people those things like we just talked about. That's why us working together makes sense. Is there anything that we discussed that would stop us from working together? Those type of things are things that just conversationally allow you to help them understand that the rapport that is there is something that will help them with their business. We can't just focus on the logic. We have to focus on the emotion, and we have to use our vocabulary to make sure we all end up in the right place.
Vocabulary and tone of voice and body language.
Agreed.
There's something known as the 55-38-7 formula. And basically they're saying what we communicate on a human level is 7% out of what we say, spoken words or written words, is what people connect with. So they're important. Yes, everything you have to say should be relevant. You want to be speaking a story that relates to the audience you're speaking to. That's also where AI can help you scrub those words. But 38% of the way people connect with you and communicate is through your voice and your tonality. Am I talking at you in a stern voice, or am I speaking gently and slowly and welcoming? And 55% is body language, which AI can't do, which an ad can't do. But these personal moments, I'm very expressive with my hands. Maybe you're not, but whatever body language you have, people read that 55% more than your words. So that's an interesting formula to kind of keep in your back pocket. There's more to the spoken word.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's spot on.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just for my notes, 738, and then what was the last number?
55.
55. Yeah,
55.
I want to remember. I love that. I'm a numbers guy, so anytime somebody can throw metrics out, I'm all about it. Speaking about speaking of numbers and things being connected and that kind of thing, I want to make sure that all of our brokers and our listeners know how to connect with you. And so, what would be the best way? If someone says, "Gosh, I want her to come be my keynote speaker, my corporate trainer, or I just want to know and meet a really cool person," how could they do that?
All of the above. I would be a pleasure to serve that. The best is remarkablespeaking.com, or you could follow me, Shelley Goldstein. That's with 2 E's in Shelley, at LinkedIn. And of course, I'm the one who's the keynote and corporate trainer, so you won't miss that. And Remarkable Speaking also has I have a YouTube channel, and I have lots of videos and tips. So you could just maybe get some ideas from some of those videos.
Sure.
They're there to help you.
I love that. Well, as always, I will link all that information as well as your YouTube channel in the description below. And I'm going to go there, and it seems like I'm already subscribed to that. I believe I am, but if I'm not, I'm going to make sure that I do. Shelley, we're so grateful that you came on the show again. We absolutely love you being here. Matt, it's good that you're here too.
Oh, thanks,
Right,
man.
I appreciate that.
I
Right?
hear your tone.
Yeah.
Ben.
For those people who can't see my body language, I'm snarling. But yeah, Shelley, thank you so much for coming on this show once again. And then I'll wrap a little bow on it here.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And what a great topical, compelling conversation. I mean, I'm figuring this all out. So I'm glad you asked really important questions today. And it was really fun being here again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We love having you on.
Well, everyone, if you're listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, any of those platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, what's up? And make sure you hit that red subscribe button, that bell right beside it, to get notified every time we drop a new episode. There's no better time than the present than to go to brokerpreneurpodcast.com. See all the cool things that we have to grow your brokerage, no matter what phase or stage of the business that you're in. Matt, we bring on amazing guests who are almost as amazing as Shelley. For one reason and one reason alone. Tell them what it is.
We just want to be part of your win.